All right, we are live. Let me go ahead and get this set up here. All right, let's see here. This is our current portfolio of what we're DLMMing this morning. We'll be looking for some more stuff. Welcome in if you're joining us live. Thank you for being here. I'm just pulling up a few things as I'm going live here. So we can get an idea here. All right, perfect. All right, so let me get some lines going here. We are watching ALK. We're also in Chill Guy and Mudang. Let's see. If anybody has any questions, thoughts, coins you want me to check out, please let me know. I'm looking at trying to figure out how to do another color line. I haven't really done this a ton here. Let's see. I guess I could just do it like this. And yeah. Yeah, I can change the color here to like yellow or something. This is the this is where I entered at on ALK. It's where I entered at on Chill Guy. Ooh, Mudang's dipping. And we got in on Mudang around right here. So we're down a little bit on Mudang. That's why we set up the two-sided, so that it'll be able to. We're looking for it to range here. If it ends up dipping below this, we'll watch it. We'll want to see it bounce off of these. If not, preferably this one here is what we're looking for. All right, welcome in everybody on Twitter, face cam only. You should be able to see it on both YouTube and Twitter. Oh, my screen's not showing. Jeez. Sorry guys, a little rusty. Let me get the screen share going. There we go. Now you can see my screen now. You can see that it'll be on Twitter and YouTube. Sorry about that, guys. It's been a week, a little rusty. I had to remember to put that up as well. I apologize. All right, let's see here. I'm using my Vector app to see if I can find any other coins that are moving right now. Hope y'all are doing good. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for watching. We're watching Sol here. So earlier, I was mentioning in the Discord on this. So Sol obviously dipped a lot. It's been ripping back up this morning, which is good. I think that's why we're seeing some of the meme coins start to recover. It did bounce off of this previous high here. And so we'll look for it to recover at some point and start to push back up. We're hoping that it breaks above this 230.5-ish. Mark, because if it does, then we should see it pick back up and come up to the 235 to 240 mark from there. So we'll keep watching that to see. It could also just bounce back down and range around here. So that'll be something to watch. If you are just getting in, this is my portfolio right now. You can see we're in ALK on 100 bin, 0.8%. It's earning around 17% right now, which is really good. It's on the high end of our range. So that's really good as well. We have Mudang, which has been doing really well. We're on the lower end, also doing really well, 63% on the 24-hour on average right now. You can see Mudang here. It has dipped down a little bit, but that's totally fine, well within our range. And then Chill Guy is still doing well after a large rip up, and it's pulled back a little bit as well, but I'll show you that on here. We're in the 125 bin, 0.2% pull on Chill Guy, and it's doing over 10% also on the high end here. And so right now, there's a lot of these coins that are like pretty popular, higher market cap, like Chill Guy and Mudang, that are ripping after the dip. And so there's some pretty good entries. Obviously, with Mudang, we got in higher because I missed the listing announcement on it. And so obviously it went from way down here, way up here, but there's a lot of attention on it right now. As it dies down some, the volume, then we may end up getting out of it, or we may just hold on to it for a little while. We'll see, depending on what it does. And so we just wanted to capitalize on the high volume that we're seeing on Mudang, with it also being like a more popular coin that's more stable. So let me draw another line here. This is our entry, this yellow line on ALK. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Should be just a slightly, yeah, that's about where entry was. And we're going to keep looking for a few other coins. Let me go ahead and pull up here and see if y'all have any questions. What meme coin do you believe have a strong correlation with Solana aside from Mudang and Bonk? I mean, a lot of the larger meme coins all are going to have some correlation. That's not always going to be the case, but there's a lot of them. I mean, you look at like Bonk, Jupe, with, you know, a lot of these like larger coins, they move fairly consistent correlation wise with Solana. But it's hard to know because there's sometimes where there's just some sort of news or something that happens, or just a group of people, or just random stuff can happen where a coin will pick up a lot of steam and move opposite of what Solana's doing. So just be careful with meme coins. They're not always going to move exactly with Solana, but normally when Solana's dipping heavy, a lot of the big meme coins will dip, and when Solana's pumping, a lot of them will go up as well. So that's usually like a pretty normal thing. Welcome in, everybody. We're up to about 85 people watching. Glad y'all are here. We appreciate it. We are live DLMMing this morning. And so if you don't know how to DLMM, you're curious about our strategy, what we do, the ins and outs, talking about, you know, entries, exits, what that looks like, please let me know. Ask any questions that you have. We're looking at the general market as we're watching Solana bounced off this 221 here, came back up, but now is retracing a little bit. And so we're hoping, because meme coins do follow Solana roughly, we're looking to see if Solana is going to continue this uptrend or if it's going to break back down again. And so we're wanting to see a continue uptrend, higher highs and higher lows than before. And we want to see the significant one to break out above is going to be this 230.5 here. And so we'll keep watching for that to determine how well we think our meme coins might end up doing. But overall, we're seeing some good ones here. So let's take a look. Mother is looking. Mother is overlooked right now among the platform watching age. Yeah, I mean, Mother might be a good one to hold. I'm not sure how it would be to DLMM. I'd be happy to look at it though. So for DLMM purposes, we want to have a coin that has a good amount of volume. Let's see. Yeah, so normally what I'll do is I'll look at the 30-minute or 1 hour volume, and it needs to be at 500K or higher for me to want to DLMM it. And so Mother has good volume, like as far as looking for a coin to potentially trade, but it's not one that I would DLMM just because there's not going to be enough volume to make it worth it to earn fees on it. And so, yeah, that wouldn't be one that I would DLMM, even though it is in a good upward trajectory right now. Might be a good coin to hold or trade, but not one that I would DLMM right now. So, yeah, super tight range you could do and earn more, but obviously there's higher risks and higher in tightening the range as well. So that's something to think about. Do you believe in getting the entry now in order to DLM in the future? For just like a token in general run, is that what you're asking? So I'll just go ahead and answer as if you're asking like in general, do you believe in getting the entry now in order to DLM in the future? I think normally I don't look to just get into a coin that I expect to have volume in the future. when I DLMM, like sometimes we're holding them for a long period of time, but especially with the way the market is right now, it's really volatile. A lot of the coins that I'm in, I'm only going to be in for a small amount of time. It could be as short as 15 minutes, could be an hour, a few hours, or could be the whole day in some instances with some of these larger cap coins. But I'm not going to buy a coin now hoping that it'll gain volume in the future. I just want to look at what has volume now, which is why I look at like the 30-minute volume on a lot of these to determine, like this one, for instance, ALK has 1 million volume on the 30-minute to determine whether I want to DLMM it or not. We do see ALK bouncing off of this support here, which is good, and starting to break back up. We'll look for it to continue to do that. Oops. I still have drawing selected there. There's a support here. Previous one here. This is our entry on Chill Guy. We're looking for it to bounce off of this one or this one. Could come as low as here or here, and we still hold. There's 2 supports there also, so we'll keep watching Chill Guy. Mudang we're down on overall, but doing decent on volume, still moving sideways there. How do you avoid pools that lose big to arbitrage? Well, I mean, the big thing with arbitrage is just you look at the current pool price here. And so you don't need to worry about arbitrage if the price is matched up. The only time that you get arbitrage is if it's not matched up, which it can happen after you've already entered. But as long as the arbitrage happens when you enter into it. And so as long as you're not entering into it with a large difference in the pair price, then you should be fine. I'm clicking on these to see if I can find one that's, yeah, like this one here. So there's a slight offset in price. This is like pretty minor. You see there it goes. It already adjusted itself. But if I'm already in the pool, I'm not going to get arbitraged. It's only when you enter the pool. And so whenever you enter into it, whenever you go to enter, it'll actually give you a warning. You can see it up here as well manually, but it'll also give you a warning when you go to enter into the pool to let you know that if you make this trade that you're likely going to get arbitraged. And so just look out for that up here. There's a way you can sync it. You can sync with Jupiter. A little thing will pop up here and you can sync it like that. If there's money in the pool, sometimes just like you saw, a slightly offset, you just need to wait for it to sync back up manually. Yeah, so I think your next question is what causes the arbitrage? It seems to only hit some coins. So it's what I just explained. It's whenever it's offset like that is when the arbitrage happens. Well, Hawk, good for dealing on launch. I assume you're saying, which launch are you talking about? Are you talking about me? The ME launch? I'll just say like HawkFi is good. When I was out of town this past week, I used it because I wasn't able to be as on my computer as I normally am. And so if you're someone who can't be on your computer watching stuff all the time, then HawkFi could be good. You can set stop loss. You can set take profit. It'll actually trade. Like if you take profit, for instance, it'll actually sell the coin back into Sol for you. And so it's really, really good in that regard. It does take an 8% fee from the fees that you've earned. And so just consider that if it's worth it for you or not. I don't normally use it because for me, it's not worth it on the 8% whenever I do this all the time. So I just straight up use Meteora. But if you're someone who doesn't have the opportunity to look at it all the time, HawkFi is a great product to look at. So those are my opinions on that. Do you only go DLMM on coins that are uptrend or sideways? Yes, correct, Lockie. I wouldn't want to go DLMM on a coin that's going down unless it's just in the short term because I think it's going to bounce back up, in which you can. I do that sometimes where you set up a one-sided Sol pool. So like if I wanted to come into Chill Guy because it's dipping right here, see how it's dipping down. But I'm like, okay, it's going to dip down now, but I have a lot of confidence that it's going to come back up. Then you can come in here and you could say, all right, I'm going to set up a one-sided pool. So you don't autofill. You just add in your Solana. Let's say I do 10 Sol. And you could set up either a spot or a bid ask, depending. If you think it's going to drop a lot and kind of sit at the lower end of your range, then you would do a bid ask. If you think it's going to kind of move consistently through, then you could do spot. So like I could set up a spot like here. And as its price drops, I'll be buying it. And as it's coming up and down in this range, I'll be earning fees. And so you can definitely set up a one-sided like this. And then if it does end up looking like you think it's going to push back up further and would come out of your range, you could close it out and set up a new pool or something like that. So In the short term, yes. If I think a token is going to go down in the long term, then no, I don't set up a pool because I'll end up losing money that way. What is your strategy on me launch? That's a great question. I'm going to be pretty flexible on my strategy for the me launch. So it just kind of depends on what we see from the launch. I do think if you've seen my thread that I just did yesterday, I'm going to be doing another thread either today or tomorrow, probably tomorrow, which will talk about kind of my thoughts around the me launch with a little more detail, kind of break it down. Somebody had asked in one of the comments, can you break this down like I'm a dummy or like I'm a 5-year-old, right? And so I'll be talking about that a little bit, but just as some examples. So if I do think there's going to be a pretty big supply crunch on it because they're only dropping 12% of the total supply, it's going to be across multiple chains. And so I think we see some good action on it early. That's really, really good for DLMMing. There could be crazy volume. So depending on my drop, I might just use the drop I have. If I don't get a big enough drop, then I'll end up buying some probably. And I'll ride it. And I'll probably do a pretty wide range as well because the volume is going to be so high. I think having a wide range, you'll still earn a lot of fees and it'll give a lot of movement for growth. Whereas if I do too tight of a range, then I might earn a lot of fees, but it may be short-lived, right? Because I do think that we'll see some pretty big price swings. And so I'll end up doing a spot 50-50 probably, unless I'm just thinking that it's ripping up, and then I'll do a one-sided with the me token on the way up. And then depending on where the token's at, right? So if it launches at, let's say $1 per me token, and it looks like it's already doubled, right? So like, let's say it very quickly goes from like $1 to $2, then I might not have a too large of a pool that I create until I watch and kind of see what it does, because it doubling from $1 to $2 could happen. But it also means that there could be a pretty big dip that follows for people that did get a large allocation that are going to be wanting to sell off. So I'll be looking for that. If it ends up just like growing a little bit, so like, within, the first 30 minutes or a few hours, it's like goes from like $1 to like 1.2, that'll show that it's fairly stable. And I'll be pretty confident to have a larger amount in a 50-50 spot. So we'll just kind of have to see. I'll play it. I'll probably end up creating multiple pools and multiple strategies that I change in and out as it happens. So I will be going live when me drops. And so I think it drops next Wednesday or Thursday, right? Yeah. Next Wednesday. And so I'll be live. And so you'll be able to see what I'm doing. So feel free to be on the lookout for that. Have your notifications on my Twitter and stuff for whenever I go live. Taco Tank re-arbitrage. I've seen pools where the value of my liquidity drops by like 30% all of a sudden, but it's still trading in the price range. I thought it was arbitrage. Taco Tank, and if you're talking about when you enter into the pool, so like when you go to add liquidity, if you see that happen, that could be arbitrage, like when you actually click add liquidity here. But if you're talking about in general, like your price ends up dropping on here, that you're not being arbitraged. Like you can't be arbitraged in your actual pool once it's created. If that was the case, like we would be getting destroyed. Meteora wouldn't be as successful because there's arbitrages that happen all the time. Normally when you see an arbitrage happen on the chart, it's happening from when people are entering positions, or people are like buying and selling from different listings, right? So like on Meteora compared to Radium and vice versa, sometimes the price on those will get a little bit off and there's arbitrage opportunities there. But if you're seeing your stuff move here and it drops 30%, it's because the price of the token's dropping, not because you're getting arbitraged. Do you DCA into a coin using SOL first, one-sided bid ask, or you just buy the coin 50-50 SOL? It just depends on what I think the coin's going to do. So today, all the positions that I'm in right now, I just bought the coin and I 50-50 spot. Because all of them had fairly good volume. I thought all of them had more upside than downside. And I set up a 50-50 so that I could collect fees as it goes both ways, which I've been doing on all these coins fairly well. And so in that instance, I did that. If I catch a coin that's in a big dip and I think that I want to just DCA into it and not just buy it because I think it might dip a little bit before coming back up, then I'll just set up a one-sided pool and I would either do a spot or a bid ask in that regard. Hi, Token. Would you would your range for a sideways deal and be tighter than a pull you think have enough trim? Yeah, absolutely. So like, for instance, right here, like if I would have known when I got into this pull that this was just going to keep going sideways and not actually trend upward, then yeah, having a tighter range here would have been better. The only downside is that if you end up creating a tighter range and the token does end up pushing down below your range or above it, then you'll get hit with impermanent loss. So on the upside, obviously you'll lose out on the gains of the token going up. And on the downside, you'll end up losing out because your liquidity is very tightly concentrated. So for instance, if you have 5 Solana set up in a pool and you do a very tight range, then all that 5 Solana is going to be used to buy the token in that tight range. So like, for instance, we're looking at ALK here. And so it's at 0.0779-ish, 0.078-ish, sorry. And so if you set up a really tight range, and it goes out of range when it dips below here, then you've bought all the token up here and the value of the token keeps going down. And so you'll get hit more with impermanent loss. Whereas if you made a wider range, you'll only be buying a little bit in this area here. And so your loss will be less. So a lot of times when I'm trying to like have a less risky profile on my pools, I'll actually just make a wider pool. Even if I know that I'm not going to like, that it's probably going to range tighter. It's just kind of like a safety net on either side. So I'm not spending all of it on that tight of a range, if that makes sense. What do you think about Port? Port dumped hard, dude. So it like went, it was doing really well earlier and went way up, and then it absolutely dumped. So I'm not sure why. Like it seemed like a cool idea. The only idea I could have as to why it's not doing well. Let me pull it up here. Is that it like the site isn't working still, or they just like it's not ever going to work, you know, like I'm not sure exactly. The idea that they have, if they can get the site working, I think it'll end up doing well. I'm trying to find the CA in our disco. There it is. What's it at now? Yeah, it's below 3 million market cap. Like it dumped hard. It was sitting sideways for a while. It looked pretty good. I don't know if anybody overnighted it. But I mean, you can see it was sitting sideways for a while, had dipped down a little bit after coming back up. But right here, it took a huge dump down. We could go look at their Twitter too. And they'll probably be posting about kind of what's going on here. Let's see. It's time to full port. They say good morning 3 hours ago. Crazy day. Thank you everyone for sticking around while we're trying to get it working. Things are looking good. Let us know about any of the bugs you find. Yeah, so I mean, I like the idea of it. It's essentially like a copy trade of profile, but it's public. And they have their whole referral side, which is kind of similar to like vector.fund, but they do it in like these groups, almost like an ETF or something, or like a mutual fund. It looks to be working. I'm not going to connect to it or anything right now, but it looks like there are people who have it connected and you could actually like view their portfolio. Or like the set of ones they have here, and you can buy into it. So you would buy like everything that they've bought and see how well it's doing. And so it's a cool idea. The site seems to be working. So unless people just expected something different than what it is, I'm not too sure why it's not doing well, honestly. I think it's a cool idea, but we'll have to see. I mean, it could just be that there was some FUD around it that I don't know about right now. So if anybody has any thoughts on it, let me know. What determines where the MET pool is used? I've seen some coins where it looked like Jupiter was only using Radium, not Meteora. So that's where like the fee and the bin step and stuff comes in. And so like whenever you click on your pool here, or just any pool, whether you're in it or not, you can see over here they have the pool chart, right? So I can actually, I'm on Chill Guy here. I can click on the deck screener and it'll actually pull up the specific pool for that Meteora pool. And so you can actually see here the buys that happened like within the last 5 minutes, 7 minutes, right? And so you can see the chart looks a little choppier, but this is for our specific pool, the buys and the sells that are happening. And so what ends up happening is that if you have too high of a base fee, then when people go to buy, it's not going to make sense for them to buy it. And the cheapest route for them, like on Jupiter, will actually end up routing through a different pool, either on Meteora or on Radium, for instance. And so that's why having a lower base fee can be good. The reason that you would have a higher base fee is that if there's a coin that's like moving a lot and people are willing to pay a higher fee to buy into it and there's not a lot of competition and liquidity, then it would make sense to have a higher fee because you'll end up making more money. But usually on larger cap coins, you'll see the fees having a lower fee ends up being better because then people are buying through your pool, if that makes sense. And so you could always create a new pool if there's not one that has a fee and bin structure that you like. But that's why. Yeah, and the route info. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I didn't have a ton in port. I ended up getting out of it mostly, but I had a small bag in it and ended up getting hit pretty hard with it on this big dip as well. We're still holding out. Chill Guy, Mudang, all are sitting pretty sideways. It looks like Solana is dipping again. You can see here. It bounced off that area that I was telling you is dipping, so we'll probably see meme coins follow suit. This actually should be here on this one, not that one. So we'll look for it to either bounce off of this or come back down and bounce off of this. If it breaks below this, it's probably going to keep going down. So that'll be one thing to watch as well. All right, let's look for some new stuff. I'm going to check out our Discover channel. Some people are posting some things. Just remember, just because I pull it up on here, I'm just looking at it just like you would look at a coin. So I'm not like saying you should or shouldn't buy something. I'm just looking at what's available right now. So let's see what we got. Up to over 200 people watching. Thank y'all so much. I know I've been gone for a week and I'm back now. I've had a lot of people that told me they miss me and were excited for me to be back. And I miss y'all as well. I love doing this. This is a lot of fun. I feel kind of like, a lot of joy when I do this and see a lot of people that are learning and I have people message me and say, thank you so much. And, because of what you taught me, I've been doing well and created another source of income and stuff like that. So that's really, really cool. There's not a lot of volume on this. The token looks like it's been doing well, Logos. So it could be one that's good to buy or trade. I don't really know a lot about it. So if you're interested in that one, you can look into it, but I'm not gonna DLMM that one. Let's see here. Max is one. I know it's down. Tetsuo, another one that's down. I don't know about that one. Let's see here. I'm just going through our Discover channel on Discord. Binary. What is Binary doing right now? Someone posted this one earlier this morning. It was one that I had seen the other day. I know that Mint in the Feed Printers Discord, he was DLMMing it at one point. Looks like it's down. Yeah. Yeah, volume's dipped a lot on it, and it's down right now, so not one that I'm interested in either. If anybody has a token they think is doing well or wants me to look at, let me know. This one is also from earlier this morning, a SpongeBob. Let's see where it's at. It's at 1.4 million. Oh, geez. Where'd it go? There it is. Yeah, it doesn't look great overall. Volume's decent on it, but it's in too hard of a dip right now, downtrend. Still watching Sol as well. Looks like it might be bouncing off of one of these two lines. Yeah, not so much on Bob. Oh, man, y'all ask a lot of questions. Thoughts on Max potential? Seems like your team is grinders. Yeah, I mean, Max could do well. I just looking at the chart on it, like it's not one that I would get into right now. Yeah, it's just down right now. Still in a downtrend. It looks like it's trying to go sideways here, but still in pretty heavy downtrend. Volume on it's starting to die off. It did pick up here, but overall it's not looking super great. So, I mean, I like Max. I think it's cool. It might do well in the future, but as of right now, not so much. Tetsuo, yeah, I looked at Tetsuo. But I think a lot of these coins, like I said, I don't like to buy them when they're like on the way down. It doesn't mean that the coin won't do well in the future. It's just that like it's not a good time to DLMM a coin when it's like ripping down, unless it's just like a temporary drop that you think it could go back up. But like when you're seeing hours of just like it continually going down, it's not something that I want to jump into. I want to catch it on the uptrend. Now, different people have different strategies. For me, like kind of to de-risk and have like a less risky strategy, I don't like to do that. Also, if you look here, if I were drawing this chart out, there's like two supports that are kind of in here, and it looks like it's broken down below both of them here, which makes me think it's going to continue in a downtrend. Even if it does start to come back up, like it would have to break above like this line here and show that it's in an uptrend with higher highs and lower lows before I feel confident in it again. So the volume ain't that bad. Matt, what is the volume not bad on? XRP on Sol. Yeah, I've seen that. The problem with coins like XRP, sometimes I don't even look at these coins because I'm like, I just have a feeling that like it's too much just of like kind of a quick trend token. And it may not do well. Doesn't have any liquidity in the deal. Yeah, I mean, we could add it if it makes sense. It's doing over 500K. It took a pretty big dip here as well. I assume that a lot of these dips are from Solana dipping. So it's like, their overall health, I don't like take it for granted, but obviously like from its all-time high, it's way down. And so again, I would want to see it create higher highs and lower lows and come again back over this significant resistance line here before I'd be interested again. You could get in down if it does break above like here and you're more like risky. You could, if it breaks above this, then you could make some profit on the way up before selling out if it's good. But again, it's not one that makes me super excited. Thoughts on Shiro? Do you have a CA? Let me see if I can just pull it up here. Shiro Neko. Hey, Rico. Welcome to the stream, man. Is this the Shiro you're talking about? It only is at 500K market cap. I got you, CoinTilt. Yeah. The 5-minute chart looks better, but that's all that makes sense. Thanks. Cool. Glad to hear it. Is this the coin you were talking about? Who said it? Shiro Dre. Is this the Shiro you were talking about, or am I on the wrong one? Let me check on my Vector app here. Oh, Monday is ripping up. I bought a little bit of that earlier. That's good to see. Dang, it ripped up hard. All right, let's check out this Shiro if I can see it on here. The 7IT one. Is that this one? Yeah, this is the right one. I would say to like DLMM, this is like way too low market cap. It's way too risky. If I set up a pool like of any significant amount of value and it just rugs, then I just like lose a ton of money. And so like if I was buying this as like just like buying a meme coin to like try to flip, I'd put like a small amount of my portfolio in it if I liked it. But this isn't one that I would DLMM. Yeah. Matt Ang, you meant volume ain't that bad for Bob. It's quite volatile despite the low volume. Never mind, volume dropped off. Never mind. It's all good, all good. Win me checker, 2 days, right? Or a day or two. I'm hoping to get a pretty big allocation of that. I was trading NFTs back on me pretty heavily. I don't know what the airdrop's going to look like, but I have like 400K diamonds or something like that. Obviously, there's people with like millions of diamonds, so we'll see what that means. I'm hoping to get, at least like 10 or 20K USD off of that, but if not, I'll be pretty sad. So we'll see. Have I checked out SC Nub Pool? No. SC Nub. I don't normally do pulls like this. Is this what you're talking about? SC Nub? This isn't really great fees. I don't normally do two tokens that aren't Sol or USDC, like two meme coins, unless they're like one is an alt of the other. So for instance, like Fartcoin and Goat, if it was doing a lot of volume, I would, but even then I don't normally. So it just kind of depends. LCK, do you adjust the bin steps to make it tighter? If you do, when and how do you usually decide? No, I don't. So the reason why is like you can set up a tighter range if you want. But really, there's not much point to it. So like if I wanted to add a position here, you can come down here and manually change this. So I was like, oh, if I don't like the 30, or like I want to make it a wider range. So instead of negative 30, we're going to go like negative 50. And then on the high side, instead of plus 50, we're going to go plus 80, right? But if you notice what happens is that we have the bin step is 125, which determines your range in the first place. So if I end up increasing this, you can actually see here, Sol needed to create 2 positions. And so what it actually does is instead of it just concentrating it differently, it actually just opens up 2 positions. So you have one position that's sitting there doing nothing and one position earning fees. And then once it moves out of one position, it goes into the other position and then starts earning fees. And so it's just less efficient to create multiple positions by changing the range or by changing how tight it's concentrated. So I just do whatever the default is for that bin step. And depending on how tight of a range I want it, I just adjust the bin step. So that's how I do it. Master, don't call me master, please. I'm trying to buy a token with one-sided Sol. So in order to do that, I need a close position when it gets out of range on the way down. Yeah, it depends on what your goal is in buying the token. But like, for instance, if I wanted to buy Chill Guy right now and I wanted to add, I wanted to spend 10 Sol worth, I could open it right here and add the position. And then as the price goes down, my Solana will be transferred into Chill Guy. It'll be buying Chill Guy essentially. And so as it goes down, I'll buy. And then at any point, if it goes out of range, then yeah, you would need to close out your pool unless you want to wait for it to come back up. But if the goal is to just buy the token, then yeah, you would just let it push down. And at any point, while it's halfway down, while it's all the way out of range, at any point, you can close it out depending on how much token you're wanting to buy or what you think the token's going to do. But yeah, that's how you would do that. Yeah, Dre said, I got you too low market cap. The volume's decent low. Yeah, on Shiro. Yeah, I mean, I think it could be good to DLMM. It's just like way too risky for me. If I did DLMM it, I would literally put like $500 or $1,000, which, you know, considering I have my portfolio is 90, 100 grand, that's like a pretty small amount for me. So like less than 1% of my portfolio is what I'd put in it. But even then, to me, it's just not really worth it. So what I would do on Shiro is I would just wait for it to come back up like over 2 million. If it does, it'll show me a little bit more or give me a little more confidence that the coin's doing well. And then I would get into it there. So I'm starting to become more like trying to reduce risk as much as possible. So a lot of times, like I won't even DLMM a coin unless it's like 5 mil, unless it just has like crazy volume, 5 million market cap. Yeah, anything after 69 bin steps, it will create a new bin array position, correct? Yeah. Guru G. Let's see. You mentioned 500K market cap is low and risky. Is there a rule of thumb for market cap when selecting tokens? Yeah, so I kind of just described that a little bit, Lucky. It's a great question. But basically what I like to do is look at what the volume on the token is, kind of what the narrative is. And so if I get into a coin early, and I think it's going to do really well, I might get into it lower market cap. But for the most part, I want to see something that's like 2 million market cap or higher. Even like 5 million is where I feel more comfortable. So I will get into it lower. It just kind of is like a feel thing. But overall, like you want to have something that's higher market cap. There's a lot of coins nowadays that get above 1 million market cap or even 2 million, but there's much less that get over 5 million. And so it kind of is just reducing your risk, right? And if it's got crazy high volume, then a lot of times if it reaches 1 or 2 million and it's like a good coin, then it'll make it to 5 million. And I could say, oh, well, I missed out on, you know, all that volume and the price of the coin going up. But to me, it's worth the risk of waiting. And so it just kind of depends. There's not like a exact rule of thumb. It's more of a feel thing. But for the most part, you want to have something that's higher. Now, I also trade meme coins on the side. Like I'll just buy and sell a little bit with like a small amount of my portfolio, like $1,000. And I do that on vector.fun. And in that instance, I buy stuff that's like 100K market cap all the time. But I'm watching it closely when I do that. I don't just like hold it and let it go to zero. And I'm particular about those as well. But specifically for most of my portfolio for DLMMing, you want it to have a higher market cap. So that it's not as risky. When you're trying to sell your meme coins from your LP, would you rather set up a one-sided DLMM for that coin or just sell it on Jupe? It all depends, Matt. So like if I think the price is dipping below where I want it to in my range, like for instance, Chill Guy here, if I was like, oh, okay, I got in here and I'm comfortable with it ranging around this, but I think that once it drops below, like this right here, that I'm not comfortable having it anymore. Well, I wouldn't just DCA because it would have to go up for me to DCA out of it. Like if I have chill guy, it'd have to go up. And if it's just going down and down and down, well, it's not going to come back up. So I would just sell it right away. So or do you sell it on Jupe? Yes, I would just sell it on Jupe. If I'm trying to get out of a coin that's like, I don't want to have a huge impact on the chart and it's gone way up and I'm just trying to sell out of it, then I would set up a one-sided pool. And as it pumps up, I would sell out of it. That's a good way to do that. But I wouldn't do that like when I'm DLMMing, like whenever it's going down, if that makes sense. YPU croak ? Yeah, croak is still a thing. We're still trying to figure out kind of the direction on it because it's gone down a lot. Specifically, this is a DLMM chat, and so I won't talk a ton on it, but it is the token that I launched, and yeah, we're continuing to try to figure out what to do. Ultimately, if it doesn't do well, it doesn't, right? The meme coins, there's tons of them that launch every day, and there's only so many that do well, right? So our goal is to make it do well, but if you get in the Telegram chat, then we can talk more about it specifically. But yeah, still working on it and trying to make it do well. But we'll see what it does. So Nika, let me see if I can copy that. Nika posted a CA. Don't buy just for analysis. So you just want me to look at it? What is this name? 983K. I would say the chart looks kind of weird considering it had a huge upswing and then it's doing all this. It had some sort of weird delay here where nothing happened and now it's dipping back down. It's high. It's got crazy high volume in the last 30 minutes, but all the volume happened right here on this pump. You can see the volume dipping down a lot. So unless like it continued to have like a good looking chart after this fact and showed some good strength, then I probably wouldn't get into it. It's a FUD AI agent. Yeah, it just like FUDs people, I assume. And it's like an AI. That would make sense. So just to go back to what we currently have, I'm going to talk about these here. Just to show y'all how things are going. So you can see Chill Guy, we're right around where we started, maybe slightly below, but basically right around where we started, earning 6%. So we've earned close to $40 in fees since this has been open. And it's been open a little less than an hour. And so we're happy with that. You know, it's earning pretty solid. We do have a larger amount in this because we think that it's good long-term. When I say long-term, I just mean more than like 15 or 30 minutes, right? Like I'll sit on this for hours, maybe days, just depending. And then let's see here. We are looking at ALK. ALK is also doing fairly well. It's in a nice sideways range. You can see this is where we got in at. So it's just above where we got in at, which you can see here. It's earning 12%. It was earning more a little bit earlier. We only have 12K total liquidity in this, and it's earned about $57, $58 in fees. Again, also within a little bit less than an hour. And Mudang as well. Mudang has only been live, I think, for maybe like 30 minutes. And it's earning the most. You can see 50% on it. We have just under 12K liquidity. And it's earning a lot. So we've earned $200 off of this one within the last like 30, 40 minutes. Now it's a little bit on the downside, but that's okay. Its volume is like doing really, really good right now because of the listing stuff. And so we're looking for it to definitely bounce back up. But even if it dips down a little bit further, that's totally fine because of the fees that we're earning. But we'll hold on to Mudang, look for it to come back up. Again, this is a longer hold, just depending on what the chart looks like. Let me come back to a few questions here. I like the topic fee brought up. So instead of selling or swapping a large amount of meme coin for sold, then he just made a 1 to 3 pool to swap. Then you collect the fees for the conversion swap. Yeah, it's a great way to do it. If it's going to have like a pump up, you can definitely set it up in a tight range and then collect fees as it does the conversion swap. It's a good way to do it instead of you paying the swap fees to swap it yourself. Yeah, absolutely. Can you explain the Fee Printers NFT? Yeah, so the Fee Printers Discord, I'm not the owner of it. I am on the team. I'm a large contributor of it. And it's something that I promote because I like the Discord. I like what's going on. I joined as a community member myself and just started doing this to help out because I enjoyed doing it. But the Fee Printer NFT doesn't like gate access to the community or anything like that. The community is open and free to join. We want to continue to have it be that way. But the NFT itself is a rev share, or I should say will be rev share because technically it hasn't rev shared yet. The goal was just to compound and grow it initially right out the gate and then start rev sharing. But it's an NFT, you can buy it. And then based on the revenue that the pooled funds earn, that'll be rev shared out on a monthly basis. That's pretty much it. I repost my question. Do you have any method to choose efficiently between percent fee of the pool, 2%, 5%? Rico, sorry if I missed your question earlier. I know that I might be missing a few of them. There's a lot of them. I'm trying to do my best there. I apologize. Do you have any method to choose efficient? Yeah. So basically the biggest determining factor of the fee is what is currently doing well. Also like how new the token is or the market cap, right? So for instance, you can see this one is a Chill Guy. It's a higher market cap, like 400 mil roughly. And the 0.2% that someone created is a smaller base fee than some other ones, but it's been around a little while and it's a higher market cap. And so you need it to have a lower base fee because it's higher market cap. People aren't going to pay a ton to swap if they're swapping, you know, 10, 50, $100,000 and the fee is like 2 or 5%. People just aren't going to swap for it. And so you need a lower percentage. Whereas if you get something a little bit lower, like ALK, which is still around the 75 to 80 million market cap range, like 80 million right now, it's at 0.8, but even like a 1 or 2% fee could do well on this because people are willing to pay a little bit more. It's a little bit of a newer token. And then if you look at like a token that's like brand new that like just launched, which I don't have any of those up, a lot of times you'll see 2 or 5% on the fee be pretty common because it's so new and it's a lower market cap. People are willing to spend more. And so you can make more money that way. So that's usually what determines how much, like what base fee I'm selecting. Bert, I'm pretty sure I have audio. Other people I think would be saying if I didn't have audio. So it may be something on your end. We've got 21 on YouTube and 275 views on Twitter or on X. Thank y'all so much. Hopefully I'm providing some valuable information to y'all, showing y'all how I'm earning. And you're learning something along the way. Let's see here. So we got ALK. ALK, the volume's picked up a lot here. We're seeing a lot of green, so that's really, really good. Chill Guy is still sitting sideways about at the place that we entered at there. You can see. And then Mudang is down from our entry. We actually entered up here, and it's dropped a little bit, but you can see we did an 80 bend step, which for Mudang is a kind of a medium range, nothing like too crazy. But we're just down a little bit from the center here. And so not much at all. And we're earning really, really good fees. Like I said, we've already earned $200 on our 11,500. And we've done that in only about 30, maybe 45 minutes. I don't remember exactly when I entered there. I do want to try to find some coins that are popping off here. I know I've answered a lot of questions. I'll come back to answer some questions in just a minute. I'll talk about Sol real quick. So it does look like Sol bounced and is at least holding, if not coming back up. So we'll continue to watch that. A good sideways trend for Sol is always good, in my opinion, for meme coins. If it's going up, it's good as well. But once it finds a good spot to settle and go sideways, usually we'll see coins that dipped start to kind of, what's the word for it? Like reprice or start to come back up. Usually the reason that coins start to move with Solana is that as Solana dips, people are selling their coins along with Solana to capture Solana at a lower price. And so often you'll see that happen kind of together. It'll coincide together. Let's see. I'm going to check out my Vector Fun app and see if there's any coins that are trending or have a lot of volume right now. The one that you mentioned earlier, it was called like Fud Slut or something like that. Which, if y'all know me, I don't normally associate with things that are more vulgar. But as far as meme coins go, I would get into a coin that I think is doing well. So as long as it's not overly bad, but yeah, it's got some trend to it, but it's not really, this chart just looks not great. I'm not sure if it's just showing up like that on Bird Eye. Let me see here. It's got a lot of volume though. Crazy volume. Yeah, I think it's just showing up like that on Bird Eye for some reason. But it's in a dip right now, so it's not one that I'm going to look at. Let's see what else we can find. Let's see what has very high volume within the last 5 minutes. Let's see. There's one called Please, PLS. Pulse is the lifeblood of innovation, filling the heartbeat of progress and illuminating. I'm going to put this CA. It says top 10 holders is 0%. I don't know how that's possible. Seems like a weird thing. Yeah, there's a lot of people that bought into it early, it looks like. It does seem to be dipping right now. I'll post the CA and Discover on Discord, and then that way I can take a more of a look at it on here. Let's see. Yeah, for some reason it's not coming through on Bird Eye. I'm not sure why. I could pull it up on Deck Screener though. I ended up just using both Deck Screener and Bird Eye for when things like this happen where it's not showing correctly. Yeah, you can see there. It's going a lot of volume. If it looks like it starts to pick back up again, then I might get into it. The volume on it has died down a lot though, so that'll be something to watch there. All right, let's see. And remember, I'm not saying that you should buy this coin that I'm looking up. I'm just sometimes having it up on my screen, it's easier to see than on my phone. I'm just looking at things that have high volume. So they literally could be a rug. They could be good. It's hard to fully know, but it's just what I'm looking at. There's another PLS that launched as well. This one is doing better. This is the 1 minute chart. Jeez, it just launched. Yeah, so it's really risky, even though it's already up to like 2.3 mil. This isn't one that I would get into right now because it's so volatile and there weren't any. I mean, it was not volatile. It's pumped so much and there wasn't any really dips at all. So the likelihood of people taking profits from here is like pretty heavy as it comes up. And so I'd look for a pretty big dip back, drawback or dip before I'd get into it. It's possible it just keeps ripping up, but it's pretty risky, right? So something to look out for there. Let's see what else we got. Looks like Goats has pretty good volume. Ram. That's one of those. Riz and Morty. Oh, that's not good. That one's top 10%. Does not look good on that. Got to filter through a lot of the junk. What is Hedgie? I don't know if I've seen this one. That one doesn't have a lot of volume, honestly. Yeah, so not seeing a ton there. Yeah, we can keep watching that one. All right, let's come back over to these questions and see what y'all got. Yeah, Rico, no problem, man. So, guy, have you ever tried using an AI arbitrage bot for ETH? I know this is a DLMM channel, but just curious about whether you think it's legit. I don't do anything on ETH. I'm not like, I didn't move to SWI. I'm not worried about XRP. Like I'm a Sol maxi. So like, I just chill strictly on Solana. I like Solana. Whenever I researched Solana 3 years ago, when I got into it, I was like, this is the best chain, everything they're doing, the speed, just everything about it. The fact that it was an L1, it was decentralized, it was slightly inflationary, everything about the tokenomics, about the team, everything, I liked it. So like, that's why I stuck around when it went all the way down to $8 and came back up. So I'm sticking to Sol. I don't ever really like go with the trends and swap off to other things. The only time I would ever do something else on another chain is if there's like a game that I like, but I haven't really messed with any of that in like a long time either. So, but I think arbitrage bots could do well. I mean, obviously there's people making money off of it, but I don't know enough about it. Bully. Oh yeah, Bully's one that I've liked. Let me see if, yeah, there's that big drawback there. Golly, it went all the way up to like 5 mil though. That's crazy. We're looking at it like 2.5. All right, let's look at Bully. So volume on Bully, the 1 hour is about 1 million, so not too bad. It's a little on the lower side, but it has picked up volume. It's been a very slow drip down, and I haven't really seen a ton of fight back. It did right here earlier today, but I would look for it to break back up a little bit higher before I feel confident. I'd want to see it break out of this like very slow downtrend that it's in. It's actually not too bad because it's such a slow downtrend. A lot of times you can make more money in fees, even though the value of your pool would go down over time. It just kind of depends. But I mean, it actually dropped a significant amount, just not all at once from yesterday to today. So I'd keep watching it. Not something that I'd want to get into right now. Do you have a strategy for dips? Yeah, it just depends, but you could do like a one-sided if you mean like, what do you do when it dips? If I'm already in a pool, like Mudang, for instance, it dipped from where I got in at, but it's a two-sided pool. So I'm earning fees on the downside here. And really it could go much lower and I would still earn fees. And so I'm not really worried about it dipping here. I would look, and if it looks like it was going to dip below this support here, this one, you can see there's not much more stopping it until this one. And even before that, you can see there's a huge dip down because of this large pump up, right? So I'm fine with it ranging within here. Even if it never comes back up to the price that I bought it at, I'll still earn a lot off of fees if it just stays ranging down here. Then eventually I'll close it out on a move up, right? But if it ends up kind of my strategy, if it dips while I'm holding the pool and it goes below this here, meaning it closes out a candle down here, then I would just close it out because I'd be too worried it was going to dip down even more. And I would either take the small loss or even potentially just the break even on it for the offset of fees. Because I've earned fees, it would offset the price going down, if that makes sense. As far as buying into a dip, it just depends. But like, for instance, let's say I wanted to get into Mudang earlier and I saw it come up and bounce up here and I saw it start to come down. I could say, okay, I want to get into it. I'd set up a one-sided pool with Solana, either a spot or bid ask. And as it dips down, I would be buying the token up. And then I could even sit on it as it ranges in that one-sided pool before closing it out or allowing it to come back up. If I thought it was going to rip back up, then I'd probably like close out of that pool and reset a new pool that's one-sided the other direction. So that's one thing that you could do. Hey, TG, as long as something like Mudang is within your zone, you'll leave it open or you close it before you go to bed? It just depends. Like I'm going to be, like it's 11, 12 in the morning for me. And so if I'm not really doing a whole lot, like I'll obviously take a break for lunch at some point, like around 12 o'clock probably. But as long as I'm going to be coming back and viewing it within an hour or so, hour or two, and I think that it's going to do fairly well, then I'll just hold it open. If when I'm going to bed, I still have it open and the chart looks decent, then I might keep it open on something like Mudang. But if I have doubts that like it starts to dribble off, volume starts to dribble down, and I think that it won't do well overnight, then I'll close it out. So it just kind of depends on how I feel. It's hard to make those decisions on overnight stuff. In the current state of the market, I'm doing it less and less compared to like a month ago. I was doing it fairly often because overnight stuff would just rip. But yeah, I'm not doing it as much right now. So something to consider. Chill Guy is still doing really well. We entered here, had a huge pump up. It's now ranging right around where we entered at. Continue to watch that, but it's doing well. Same thing with Mudang, which you were just looking at. It's a little on the lower side for us, but still sitting sideways. ALK as well, just a little bit above where we entered, but it's ranging nicely also. So we're just holding those. We're looking to see if there's going to be any coins that pop up that we want to get into that are going to do really well. If anybody has any of those that are higher volume, please let me know. Let me look at PLS. So PLS is actually doing really well. Like if we would have gotten down here, we would be absolutely printing now. I think I'm going to try to get into PLS. It is a little bit riskier, but it's one that is doing fairly well. So I'm going to look for it to dip just a little bit before I get in. Unless it breaks above here, then we might just jump into it quickly. We'll see. I'm just setting up the buy. I'm not actually buying it just yet. It's also pretty risky. So like 10 sold for me is a small portion of my portfolio. I wouldn't use a ton of your portfolio on it. It does look like it's ripping up. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a dip back. Yeah, right there. We're gonna get hit a little bit on the price variation. Yeah, so it's dipping here. So we're not buying it yet. I'm just watching. I'm actually watching the price at the top of my screen right here. That's probably a good spot to try to buy in. I'm actually going to hard refresh my Jupe real quick. It's come back up. It's dipping and coming back up. So we're probably not going to get like the perfect entry on it. I think we'll just be happy with this, all things considered. It dipped again. So we're just waiting. Okay, we're watching it dip here. Okay, that's a little bit of a better entry. So we'll go there, see if it'll go through. It's moving a lot. It's high volume right now. So this is actually like a good time to get into it. Again, this coin could have absolutely just like rug or dip down a lot and we'd end up losing out. The idea is to get in on one of these dips so that we get a decent entry and then to just farm the fees before getting out. Just trying to process the transaction. If it can't process it quick enough, I might just do it through Radium. Sometimes if Jupe's struggling, then I'll do it through Radium. Yeah, this is a really good spot to get in at. It's in a nice little dip right now. Cool, we got it. Yeah, this one didn't go through, but that's perfectly fine. You can see it's in a nice dip here, but it looks like it might start to make its way back up. So we're going to set up a two-sided pool on PLS. We'll use the CA. Make sure we get the right one. So I don't like any of these, so I'm going to create a new one. I want to do a 200 bin step 2%. There's PLS, Sol, base fee, 2%. And we're going to do a 200 bin, 0.0. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, 2, 2, 0, 2, 8, 2, 6, 9. We try to get it paired up with Jupiter as best as possible. Before we actually enter the pool, make sure that it's good as well, that it's nice and synced up. Dang. This is why this is much higher risk. It's dipping pretty heavy here. So we ended up buying in up here on this dip. If it starts to just like fall, we'll just sell it and take the loss on it. But if it looks like it's going to fight back, then we'll set up a pool. Because it's dipped so much, I'll probably just end up setting up a one-sided pool. This is why you have to be careful with coins like this. So I'm just going to go ahead and set up a one-sided pool now. Because if it goes down, we're just going to sell it anyway. The hope is that it goes up from here. And so we don't need a downside because I don't want to buy it if it goes cheap down. I just want to get in as it goes up, which it does look like it's trying to come back up, which is good. All right, so we were able to get into it. And so the goal here is just because we got in right here. We bought in up here, so we're down in overall price, but not anything like crazy significant. And so the goal here is to set up the one-sided pool so that as it comes up, we'll earn fees and sell into it. If it ends up just dipping down like too low here, probably I'm not trending horizontal line below this right here, then we'll just sell it. So we'll see what it does. It's pretty normal after coming back, like for it ripping so quickly all the way up to 5 mil to have like a decent drawback. And so again, we're looking for this red candle. If it closes down below here, then we'll just close the pool and sell it. Sometimes this happens. This is meme coins. This is why you have to be careful with stuff that's like this this volatile, right? So there's another coin that someone posted to look at. We'll take a look at that. We'll come back to this one in just a second. Let's see. We're looking at Bully over here. Let's look at this one. This one's called Pulse. Oh, that's what we're looking at right now. Is this a different PLS? Or is this the same one? I'm pretty sure. Oh, it's the same one. Okay, never mind. Yeah, it's the same one. So it looks like it's testing off the support now. So we want to see it come back up. Our DLMM is probably not getting hit right now, which is perfectly fine. Because where I entered at, I want it to, I don't want to, did it just dump? Oh no, it's still there. Yeah, we got it back in up here. And so we'll just sit again. If it ends up going lower, I'll just end up selling it and taking the loss on it. But we're just going to sit and wait for it to come up. And if it does end up coming back up into our range, then we'll earn fees on it. So we'll just leave it there for a second. Again, I'm going to be ready just to sell it if it goes down too low. But we'll watch it. This is why you just have to be careful with risky coins, right? Pulse is rug. They launch 5 coins every day, somebody says. Interesting. Okay. Well, I don't know if that's true or not. We'll just close it out. We'll see if it goes up in value. Fantastic. We'll sell it. Or if it looks like it's going to keep going down, then we'll sell it also. So somebody says they put out a lot of coins every day. I like Bird Eye better than Dex Screener. I just wish Bird Eye would work a little better sometimes. I feel like I can view the information on a coin way better. Oops. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know why it shows like this, but it does. All right, we'll just sell it. It's dumping. I guess it's just going to rug. Yeah, again, this is why I like to get in ones that are like 5 mil or higher, because there's so many coins that like get into like the 2 mil to 5 mil range like fairly easily. But ones that like break above 5 and like last for a long time are the ones that like usually end up being less risky overall. So I didn't even get to DLMM this. It happens. We'll just move on and try to find something else. So let's see here. Gulp matting. Yeah. Also, I just want to make this clear. I've said this many times before, but like I encourage you, don't just copy trade me. Like the point of me doing these videos is not for people to copy trade me. The point of these videos is to be educational, right? So my goal is to try to teach you how to do it, not for you to copy trade me, right? So you can see the tokens dumping a lot. So this happens though, like in between having some really good coins that we end up making a lot off of, there's always some that end up like not doing well, like the one that we just hit there. And so that's part of being in meme coins. You all know, you've all experienced that, I'm sure. And so that's just something to consider and think about whenever you are, when you are doing these. Yeah, some people, yeah, put a label on the bottom. Yeah, I agree. Not liable for your losses. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I mean, I can't, you have to make your own financial decisions, right? Like on any coin that you buy across anything, like I can only do, I do what I do, you do what you do. And ultimately you have to make your own choices. So, but yeah, so we still have Chill Guy, we still have Mudang, and we still have Alk, which are all doing fairly well. They're all ranging sideways, is just what we want to see. How are you filtering pump tokens? Because a lot of them are 9. Yeah, I mean, I didn't get into that one when it was like really, really low market cap. So I filter them by market cap, by volume. I also look at the, like right here, I'll look at make sure it's mintable, mutable. I make sure that it's the top 10 holder count looks half decent. normally 20% or lower, but depending on the coin, sometimes it could be a little higher than that, like out here. But yeah, those are things that I normally look at. On Deck Screener, it just like, honestly, I don't use Deck Screener a ton. And so I don't even know where I see that. Like, it doesn't seem like it's easily accessible to see that. On Bird Eye, it is, which is why I like Bird Eye's UI better. It's just that its charts don't always perform as well, which is why I have Deck Screener pulled up. But those are things I look at. If I'm like really weary of it, then I can look at like bubble charts and stuff like that as well. But yeah, usually whenever they do well and they make it above like 5 mil, and they haven't like rugged or dumped yet, then that gives me a lot of confidence as well. But a lot of what I'm doing with DLMMs is just getting in and out in short terms anyway. And so a lot of times I'll get into a coin and it does really well and I'll get out and then I'll look at it the next day and it's like absolutely toast, but we did really well DLMMing it at the time, right? So a lot of times we're just reading the charts, but we do look at narrative. We will look at Twitter and stuff like that as well to try to get a good idea of what we're DLMMing and what's going to be good or not. So we're watching Moodang dip here. Again, if it goes below this line, we'll just end up getting out and selling, but we're hoping to see it bounce off of here and come back up. We've been earning fees along the way though, so doing well there. If anybody has any coins they see that are high volume, please let me know. Let's see what's pumping here. Ooh, Zerebro's down a lot, but doing pretty high volume right now. A lot of stuff is down right now. It looks like Sol. Yeah, Sol has dipped back down a little bit. So you can see here. Let's pull this up on Jupiter. You can see. So Sol bounced off this resistance up here and has come back down. It's also broken down below this one. So it could keep going down a little bit more all the way to like this 220 area and potentially bounce off of there. So usually whenever Sol's dipping like this, we'll see a lot of stuff dip down as well. Earlier, whenever we saw it coming back up right here, we saw a lot of things starting to pump back up and was hoping that it would keep doing that. It didn't, and it came back down. And so we're seeing some stuff go a little bit stagnant, but things like ALK still look like they have really good volume. Chill Guy as well, sitting sideways. Moodang's the only one that's a little bit down for us. We'd like to see it bounce back up, but overall, those three are doing fairly well right now. Rumors is USA is selling 10K BTC. Interesting. Maybe. I don't really trade off rumors like that, but it's possible. I think I have some general thoughts about kind of the state of the market that I wanted to talk about. Let me see something real quick. So yeah, some general thoughts. You know, I mentioned this might have been in Discord chat the other day, but one thing that I've seen the last 2 years with Solana, which is important to look at because which also with like BTC and ETH and stuff as well, they all follow each other. You can see Solana is down here, but one thing that I've noticed is that around October, November, we see like coins do fairly well. Solana market do fairly well. And then usually right after Thanksgiving, we see a dip into the first week, which is what we're in now of December. We then will see it start to rip back up pretty much all the way to Christmas. Sometimes it's like on the 23rd or 24th. Sometimes it's like all the way through to like the 25th or 26th. And we see the market be pretty strong. And then right after that, we see another like week or two of it kind of steady out or even dip down a little bit before it starts to pick back up again in like late January into February, March. And so I'm kind of expecting it to do the same thing. And so it doesn't surprise me that it's dipping down a little bit here, especially after we saw it rip the way that it did. And so I think, I think we kind of continue to see it. We might see it come back up a little bit after this week, but I think we'll continue to see it kind of just sit sideways right now between this like 220 and 230, maybe up to the 240 range. But I think we'll see it sit sideways here for a little while before we see it pick back up, and maybe towards the end of this week, but probably more likely the beginning of next week. And so just know, like, some of the meme coins will continue to follow that. We have seen a ridiculous bull run the last 2 months with meme coins. It won't be like that forever. And so I think that, like, even with the state that they're in right now, like, you can still make a lot of money. It was easy to earn money the last 2 months. Now it's still like fairly easy, but not quite as easy. And so just know that, like, don't use the same strategy you were using the last 2 months as you do over the next, 4 or 5 months. I think we'll still see like a pretty strong market overall. But just be more wary of rug pulls and stuff like that. Be more wary of stuff that you're getting into that may do well in the short term, but not over the long term. So like I said, like two months ago, or like a month and a half ago, when stuff was just ripping, like, we were DLMMing stuff that was like 1 mil or 2 mil pretty consistently and doing really well. But the way the market's going right now, which we just saw off of that like Pulse token, I'm probably not going to DLM anything unless it's broken above the 5 mil mark and looks pretty confident. Just because I need to see a little bit more that people are confident in a token. I need to see that a token is actually going to stick around a little while, right? So like 5 mil, but also like maybe not even get into a DLMM if it's just the first day. Unless, obviously, there are some coins like Chill Guy, for instance, like many others, that just rip incredibly hard because people are so bullish on them. In that instance, I would jump in. But for most of the coins that I get into, I'm going to want to see a little bit more consistency before I get into them and DLMM them. That may not be as exciting. It may not be where we're earning like 40 or 50% ROI in one day, but I'm okay with that. Like, you take advantage of that whenever it's here, like we've seen the last month and a half or 2 months. And then as the market shifts, you have to adjust. And so, like, if I earn 1% a day, that's amazing, right? But I think I could probably earn 5 or 10% a day instead of like the 30, 40% we were seeing. And that's still really, really good. And so that's what I want to look at now, is just trying to stay consistent, trying to continue to earn based on what the market's kind of giving me, and not try to force things and try to earn way more as if it's a month or two ago, because it's not. The market shifts and changes. We know in crypto, it changes every week. It changes definitely every month. And so just think about that and consider that whenever you are looking at stuff. We may have made a lot of money on coins that were low market cap before, but I don't think we're going to continue to necessarily see that. And so I'll be DLMing less and less of those coins. A lot of the live streams I do like this will be on coins like we're looking at, like Chill Guy, Moondang, stuff like that. Maybe some coins that are 5 or 10 or 20 mil as well. And a lot of it's going to be educational, right? And so watching a chart that's ripping up is a lot of fun, but we may just not see that a lot, and that's okay. Again, my goal here is to help educate people in the best way possible. And so, we are watching Moondang test this down here. Again, if it breaks below this, we're just going to end up closing out our pool and selling it. If it continues to test here and comes back up, then we'll continue to hold it and watch it. We'll just see what happens there. Dang, we're up to 376 viewers. Thank y'all so much. 27 on YouTube and almost 350 on Twitter. Thank y'all so much for watching and being here. I'm going to continue doing this for about another 30 minutes. And so, please let me know if you have any other questions, or if there's any tokens that you're watching that you think are doing well that we should get into. Just let me know. I'm going to check out my vector app again here and see if there's anything trending or anything that has decent volume that we can get into. Let's see. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff down right now. I see way more red than I do green pretty much across the board. Yeah, so it looks like Moondang's dipped there. So we're going to go ahead and close out of Moondang. And you can see we've been earning really good fees on it, which will help offset the loss. We'll still probably be in a slight loss, but that's okay. That's kind of just part of it. I stick to my stop loss like pretty firmly. And so like with Moondang here, it took a pretty big rip upward. So the fact that it's come down, could it come back up here? Yes. But considering that it took this dip way here, and then before that, there's not really anything, I'm worried that it could dip even further. And so I don't want to take that risk of it going lower. I'll just take the small loss. It's really not much at all. And move on. If it does look like it starts to come back up at some point after dipping down and I like it, I might get back into it. But yeah. One other thing to consider is, like, even if I broke even on all of my pools, I'm farming the Met airdrop, which will obviously be really juicy. It's based on the amount of fees that you earn. And so situations like this don't really faze me. It's just part of it, right? We want to capitalize on the wins that we get and reduce the losses as best as possible. Would it be bad to do a one-sided sold DLM from a day? Yeah, I would say so. The reason why is because you don't want to one side at the beginning of like it falling. And so again, it could just come back up here, but I just read charts and say what's more likely. What's likely is that it has a little bump up here and then comes back down. And so you don't want to catch it as it's falling too sharply. So I'd wait for it to fall a little bit more maybe and then do it. It just kind of depends on what you're looking to do. I personally wouldn't want to do that right now, do a one-sided. But if you want to set up like a really wide range one-sided, because you think that it's only going to come down so far before coming back up, then it could be good. You just have to determine that for yourself. But you could set up a one-sided, do like a one-sided bid ask. That's going to be the least risky out of the two instead of spot. Bro, this music turned into some like real chill stuff. Let's see. Let's get a little more upbeat here. There we go. That's a little better. So you think in this case a bid ask is better to minimize risk while spot is for maximum? Correct, Matt Ang, exactly. It's a good question. Good question. Yeah, so we sold our Mudang right around there. Still in Chill Guy. Chill Guy is still just sitting sideways. So you can see here, let's go to our pool. You can see we set up Chill Guy. We're about even as far as like where it's at. And we've been earning, again, 4, 5, 6%, which is perfectly fine. Like if it just stays like this and I can earn, I mean, think about it. If you could earn 4 or 5% a day, that'd be insane returns on your money. And so perfectly fine with it earning 4 or 5%, especially if it stays around here. I do think there's much more upside to Chill Guy than downside. And so that'll be one that I'll probably hold. Alka as well has just been sitting sideways pretty heavily. And so I think, yeah, just kind of depending, I think that, Alka's a pretty good hold right now as well. It did rip up here earlier. Volume on it's dipped a little bit, so I will continue to watch that. If it goes down too much and starts to dribble off, then we'll end up closing it out. But overall, looks pretty solid. Let's see here. Where'd my mouse go? There it is. All right, let's see what else we can find. Not sure why my my song keeps cutting off there. Let's hope that works there. Another thing that you can do for pools is you can go to metlex.io, which is where we look at a lot of like profit and loss and stuff like that on pools that we have. And you can actually go to DLMM, the one with the little 100 over it. And you can actually look at pools and how well they're doing here. So like the Tetsuo pool seems to be doing pretty good. So then I could go, okay, cool. Let me come take a look at Tetsuo. It's a good way to find like certain coins. Obviously, Tetsuo is like down pretty heavy. But it may be fighting back up. So let's see. Let's see if it'll load. There it goes. Yeah, so I mean, it still looks like it's in a pretty big dip, so that's not one that I would be interested in. But we can come back here. We could also break it down, like look at like the fee structure of it, right? We could look at filter by volume, like within the last 5 minutes, some of the higher volume. You could look at port as well, XRP, Tetsuo, Mudang, right? A lot of the ones we've been seeing, Bully, Pilzumi, Logos. Let's look at Logos was one that I saw earlier. I think it's dipping as well. Yeah, volume's not as high on that one, so not great either. How's port doing? We haven't looked at port in a little while. It had dipped really heavy earlier. I like the idea of port. We looked at the website of it and everything. I don't know why it doesn't show there. Let me pull up on Discover, see if I can find it. Oh yeah, the other one. There's someone else posted one here. I'm gonna look at this in the meantime. Radio, see if it's doing anything. Looks like it's down a little bit right now. Yeah, not a ton of good volume on radio either. Yeah, it's not good. Let's see, port. It's time to full port. Oof. Yeah, port's not doing good at all. It's got tons of heavy volume, including big buys and stuff down here, which is really interesting considering how hard it's dipping. I mean, you can see like it has more sells than buys, but it has a lot of big buys here as well. So there's obviously people who like this price that they're buying in at, but that's just way too much downside for me. So look, I mean, Port is literally a coin that has a website. Like it's a whole product. It had a lot of hype, coming out and like did fairly well. And look at it just die off, So like we're just in a state of the market where it's like it's hard to hold on to stuff long term, even stuff that's like you should be more confident in. Going to continually watch the stuff that I'm in because you just never know. Like I was in Port earlier, and it was doing really well, and then it just just died. And so just like that, you can lose a lot of money. So just be careful with that kind of stuff. Let's see, XRP, Fartcoin. Let's look at Fartcoin, Pilzumi. I saw those earlier as like having decent volume on them. I know Fartcoin overall is like dipped down a lot, like many of the other things. Cool. It's a big dip. Look at that fight up pretty heavy here. And then all of a sudden just boom. And like the indicator that this is giving would have told me that like if I'm reading this chart, I would have thought to myself like, oh, this is going to keep going up. But this follows Sol like pretty closely, like Fartcoin, Goat, stuff like that. And we saw Sol start to fight back down after coming back up as well. And so it's really, look at this. You can see here, had a hard dip, kind of dribbled down a little bit, had a pretty strong fight back up, and then boom, start to dribble down again. Look at that. Same thing here. After a hard dip, dribble down, start to fight back up, and then boom, tank down again, right? Like, I mean, it's literally the same thing. So it's just following Sol. So a lot of times, like when you see Sol start to pump, you can get into some of these altcoins and they'll follow it. Not always the case, but a lot of times it does. It does look like it's trying to bounce off of here, which is good. I'd be weary of Sol dipping lower. It may actually cause me to want to stable up on it. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there as well. We're up to 382 people, viewers. Thank you all so much again for watching. Right now, we're not really finding a whole lot of new stuff, and that happens throughout the day. I've talked about this before. There's usually like 2 or 3 windows that we'll see, usually 3, especially on like a Monday where volume's usually a little bit higher. But we'll see a morning window, which is kind of when the U.S. market wakes up. You have both the Asian and the European markets that are both still hot. Whenever the U.S. market wakes up because they're both still awake. So the Asian market is it's kind of their nighttime, and then the European market it's kind of their midday time, right? And so Whenever we wake up, we usually see a pump because that's the time when all the markets are hitting at once. Usually there's a little bit of a break around lunchtime, which is around right now. And then usually in the afternoon, it picks back up again as people are getting off of work and stuff like that. The Asian market is just waking up. The European market's asleep, but usually we still see a decent amount. And then later at night, you'll see the UK market start to wake up. The Asian market's been up for a while, and the US market hasn't gone to sleep yet. They're kind of up late at night. And so we'll see, usually see it then. So those are kind of the three phases. There's usually gaps in between those. And so just consider that, like obviously right when we hopped on this morning, stuff was doing really well. And now it's starting to die off a little bit, which is why I'll be getting off shortly. And we'll keep watching these to see what they're going to do. But yeah, just something to consider. Do you believe Zoomer means like look back your official narrative there for Zoomer? I don't know. Maybe. I'm not too sure how I feel about that, Matting. I think that different meme coins of different kinds with different kind of demographics can do well for various reasons. It's hard to fully know like why one is going to do well. AI meme coins are obviously out right now. There'll be a new trend. I think we're starting to see that. There's going to be a new trend shift sometime soon. I don't know what that's going to be, but I would look for that. I think AI will stay around for a while, but I think we'll see some other ones that pop up soon that are going to kind of pop off. Obviously, like the holiday ones have kind of been doing decently, but I think closer to the holidays, like closer to Christmas, we might see some of that. And then I think honestly, like around like getting close to Christmas, you see a lot of like the ones that have been around a while, like the bonks and stuff like that do really, really well. And so that's something to think about, like, around Christmas time, closing in on Christmas, probably after about like a week or two from now, we see a lot of the ones that have been around a while end up doing really well. Also, people start to get their Christmas bonuses and stuff in the next week or two. People start to prepare to spend more around Christmas. People are home more, stuff like that. So those are all reasons why like we usually see a big pump after this dip. So this is a good time to get into stuff that you're wanting to hold long term. Like this week, I think we'll see stuff kind of just trend more down than up, even though there will be some stuff that does well and goes up. And so now is a good time to get into like some of those kind of midterm to longer term holds. DOGS said Bully. Let's see. Is Bully fighting back well? You mentioned it earlier, DOGS. It's still kind of doing the same thing. So we'd want it to like break back above here, the 130 mil kind of range. So not doing anything too great yet. We're going to keep holding Chill Guy. We're going to keep holding ALK. We're going to just sit on these two. I'll come back in like an hour after lunch and probably hop back on and see how these are doing. But right now they're doing fairly well for me. They're both slightly on the lower side, but not too, or actually ALK's still on the higher side, but I think Chill Guy's on the lower side, but still overall doing really, really well. And so, yeah, we'll keep a lookout. If y'all do see any other coins that are doing well, that are popping off, please let me know. As always, I appreciate y'all coming on and watching and asking questions. If there's any questions I didn't answer or any things that pop up in the future, please let me know. I'd love to be able to help out even more. Y'all could always comment on things later as well. If you can comment on things later as well. If if you want me to talk about it in the next stream. So tomorrow I may be on, but if I'm on, it's going to be later. My normal days for streaming are Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then Tuesdays and Fridays are iffy. If I am on, do get on tomorrow, Tuesday, it'll be a little bit later, about an hour to two from now. And so I think that's ends up being around 7 p.m. UTC or a little bit after that if I do get on, just kind of depending what the market's doing. If the market's slow, I won't get on. If it's doing really well, then I probably will. And then Fridays kind of similarly as well. So if I'm not on tomorrow, then I'll see y'all Wednesday. Again, thank y'all so much for watching and being here. And if, again, you have any other questions, let me know. Hopefully you learned something today and we can continue to help educate and grow and do this stuff together. I will be talking more about like the Met airdrop and the Me airdrop and stuff like that over the next few weeks also, because obviously those are going to be coming up and that's going to be pretty hot. And so I'll be excited to talk about those as well. But again, thank y'all and have a good one.